Hey YouTube, what goes on? And welcome back to Disavowed Action Figures. It's been quite a while since I went live here on my channel, so I figured it was time to circle back, say hi everybody, check in, and what better day to do it than on the day of a Marvel Legends Hasbro Pulse action figure release day. That's right. It's one of those magical days as a Marvel Legends fan where we get to see what the next Marvel Legends that are going to take the money out of our wallet are going to be. So here we are, January 17th, 2025, first one of the year, I believe, checking out what's going to be new, what pieces of plastic are going to start just burning away that hard-earned cash that we were trying to stow away over the winter. So it was a pretty decent live stream today. If you haven't had the opportunity to actually see what occurred at it, we'll go through it in this video. Basically take a look at what was announced, what was shown, talk about what things might cost. We don't quite know yet. We'll get to that later on. But just ultimately kind of reflect on what Marvel Legends and what the team talked about today. It was a weird, wacky experience, too. If you had an opportunity to check it out at 11 a.m., started off at a very weird kind of start. It was very strange. We'll kind of talk about that and touch on it momentarily here. Before we get to that, though, if you're new, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It is free for you. It does not cost you anything and helps us grow the channel tremendous in the march to 7,000 subscribers. We're pushing hard to get there. We're right around 210-ish, 205 away from 7,000. So it's greatly appreciated if you're new. You're not somebody who's typically seen the channel before. We do toy hunts, action figure reviews, just kind of hang out and talk toys, try to have a good time, avoid all the nonsense that goes on in our lives otherwise, and kind of just relax here. So just kind of have fun with the hobby, enjoy it, talk, so on and so forth. So with that said, I'm not going to gab here too long. Let me get my very high production slideshow up here that, of course, I went crazy making. There we go. All right, so good old Google slides here for the presentation card. So again, pretty exciting here to go through what they announced for today. It wasn't the most exciting day of reveals. Not really, not quite. I predicted pretty much nothing correctly. Well, a little bit of something, I guess, I predicted correctly. But yeah, we'll get into it here. So before we get into it, just saying hello to people who are stopping by. Again, not doing this the best time of day for a live stream, but I wanted to get all my thoughts out in the open right away and kind of have some fun with this. So there's Luke. How you doing, Luke? What's going on, man? Four Feathers. What goes on, sir? Good to see you here, buddy. So let's launch right into it here with the slideshow. So basically, as I had mentioned, very weird experience to start off. So yeah, apparently, I think the story is, from what I've heard now, here we are, roughly 3.5 hours after they did this, or I'm sorry, 4.5 hours after they did this stream. They apparently uploaded it incorrectly, from what I understand, and it was in virtual reality VR experience mode. So there's a lot of people putting funny memes out there, wearing the goggles, so on and so forth on the Instagram and everything else. But yeah, basically, I guess they messed up however they uploaded it. I was watching live with no volume at the time, and I was able to literally click on the screen and look around and all the weird stuff associated with the VR basically on its screen. So a lot of people were able to basically screenshot the images of the releases, because I guess that they did turn around, take that stream down, and then they put up the new stream, shortly thereafter. I think around 11:30, they got the actual stream up the right way. And I can't find the VR one online anymore. So I guess they realized they had to get rid of that to save some face. But ultimately, kind of strange. Also, it wasn't really a live stream because obviously it was recorded. So I think they tried to play it off as a live stream, right? And here it was recorded. It was not live. So it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and throw shade and focus too much on it. But if you want an idea of what it looked like as you kind of worked your way through, this is kind of what you saw. You kind of saw this. Again, if you've ever done a VR kind of thing, you kind of manipulate it, move it around, and it gets pretty weird with the perspective you can see. This looks like something out of Doctor Strange to me right here. Shows some sort of psychedelic music in the background playing. So it was odd. It was definitely strange. I did some screen grabs of it just because I knew they'd probably tear it down right away, which eventually they did. So kind of odd, definitely weird. But here you can kind of get a little bit of a taste. If you haven't seen the Legends reveals yet today, a little bit of a taste of what they revealed today. If you're seeing this before you've actually went out and checked anything out. Hey, the man collects. What's going on, sir? So yeah, so that kind of gives you a little bit of a sneak peek. But basically, they opened it up with a review of the recent Build-A-Figure wave they announced. I believe it was at the end of 2024. So this is one I'm pretty excited about. I put it on my list of things I'm most excited about for 2025. So pretty cool wave here. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing since obviously it's kind of old news right now. It's not new news, but I am digging the Build-A-Figure here. Looking forward to getting this Build-A-Figure in the collection. I kind of wish it was more Age of Apocalypse inspired, but I take what I can get with that sort of thing. So cool, big, beefy Build-A-Figure that we're getting here in 2025. So a lot of us were excited today to see if they'd announce another Build-A-Figure wave. A lot of people comparing this to when they announced the Zabu Build-A-Figure wave from 2024. Yeah, a lot of people trying to make the connections. Will it be similar? You know, what will the Build-A-Figure be? So on and so forth. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to it. But the first thing they did show us that was new is an X Factor Jean Grey exclusive figure for Target. Again, I know Target exclusives are going to scare people off right away. They did not announce like pricing or anything. Essentially, they just said fan channel retailers in Canada and the EU, and then also Target in the United States here in America. This looks pretty cool. I'm not going to do too deep of a deep dive into this one here. Isn't really anything I'm super excited about. Again, Target exclusives hit or miss. Sometimes you can't find them at all. Sometimes they pile up and they clearance down to $7. So I don't know what to expect with this. One cool little thing they did do with this, other than the alternate head sculpt, is they did give her I think I have a picture of it. If I don't, okay. They did give her basically a little like power effect that does kind of clip into her hair. I think she can only use it when it's the head sculpt without the actual like mask thing or cowl, whatever, pulled over her head. So that's kind of neat. I haven't seen Jean Grey, I don't think, having like that before. But they did basically say that this, much like the Professor Xavier Savage Land figure on the retro card, that retro card Marvel Legends are going to be a thing at Target, an exclusive thing this upcoming year in 2025. So they said stay tuned. They said they're also going to build out the rest of this team more or less. So Beast, Iceman, I guess is an Angel in this crew, I believe, as well, from the original X Factor. So it's not anything I'm necessarily interested in getting. If I can get it, again, on clearance, I'll probably pick it up just for the wall. But yeah, this one really didn't get me too going. I didn't focus too much on this one here, just because I don't necessarily really care about it that much. But I wanted to show it off so you know that it's there. So again, Target exclusive. Make of it what you will when it's a Target exclusive, right? Okay, so getting into something else I didn't really care about is the Spider-Man No Way Home Electro. So one cool thing, I guess, about this is they are essentially finishing off No Way Home. You know, we got the Lizard, we got Doc Ock, we got the Green Goblin. So they had to kind of circle back to do all those well after the film came out. Ultimately, I definitely do not need this. I have the Doc Ock just because I thought the tentacles were pretty cool, but overall, this is an easy pass for me. Not that it's a bad action figure. I just don't really need it. I haven't collected the other ones. I haven't pre-ordered Lizard or anything. So, but yeah, this is also the not Jamie Foxx version of this character. I'm pretty sure Jamie Foxx played Electro, right? So they did make it a point, which I was wondering the whole time, if the little starfish electric effect would come off his head or not. It does not. It is permanently attached there. And I'm going to go on a limb here and say it's because they did not have the likeness rights for Jamie Foxx to actually, use his likeness, which is strange because I feel like in Marvel movies and major action movies nowadays, I feel like when you sign that contract to be in it, you're pretty much, they're wrapping you up to make an action figure of you, especially if it's with Disney / Hasbro. So I don't know. I'm guessing they either didn't have the rights or they'll do it down the road. But they didn't really talk too much about this guy. You get some pretty cool effects. I think it's the electricity effects that came with the recent Electro figure that is the female Electro figure, I believe, on the Spider-Man retro card. So for me, easy pass, easy way to save some money on this thing. I'm sure it's a great figure. I'm sure people who love that movie and love Spider-Man as a franchise will go out there and pick this thing up, but not necessarily anything I need, considering there's other stuff coming out this year. There are some of the special effects right there. They kind of like port, I guess, like around the wrist. I think they had said this is an effect they were very excited about when they showed the comic book female Electro at their last reveal. So they're pretty high on these, and you're going to see them a lot. When they make something like this, they're going to bang them out. They're going to use it for as much as they possibly can. They rarely make something that's going to be single use, right? If ever. So, hey, Eric, what's going on? Driving home after work. Looks like a few figures I would have to get in this wave. Yeah, Eric, there's some pretty cool ones in here. We'll get to those. We're kind of getting to the cool stuff now. These are kind of the opening acts, so to speak. So moving on from that, this was the kind of their big thing. I think they focused the most on this. I didn't go back and time it, but I feel like they probably spent the majority or the most amount of time focused on this during the live stream. So this is their new Maximum series they're doing. So it's a new subline, as you could say, of essentially ultra deluxe, I guess we can call it, action figures from Marvel Legends. Starting off, of course, with Spider-Man. It's a great choice, of course. But yeah, Maximum series Spider-Man here. You get a look at it right there. Everything he comes with, everything. I know when we were on the live stream last night at the Yojo Jerk channel, cutting up over on the Mega Powers Toy podcast, we threw some predictions out there, and we talked about maybe an effects pack or something. I didn't even know this was coming. Apparently, this was rumored to be something they're looking at doing. But basically, this is going to be a souped up, ultra deluxe sort of situation here they're looking at doing. They mentioned that they're going to do it for other figures. It's not just going to be for Spider-Man. So it's a new initiative, which Dan Yoon did say in his tweet earlier yesterday morning. He had confirmed that they'll be showing us some new initiatives, which definitely this would fall under that category. So it took some screen grabs here to kind of show you what he's coming with. I know we saw the packaging, but basically you're going to kind of get like the Spider-Sense head going on. I know people for years have made customs for that, little attachments and things. I kind of think it looks pretty cool here. They have him hanging on the web line upside down. It's a good shot. They said this is a brand new sculpt. This is not reuse of any other Spider-Mans. They resculpted him. They're basing it off basically the 90s version of Peter Parker's Spider-Man, from what I understand. They did a lot with the articulation here. He has the toes. They said they kind of like did something with the hips or the legs to basically make his legs be able to be posed in different, more Spider-Man poses than previous ones or prior ones have been able to do. So again, you can kind of see some of those shots here, how the legs basically have some added movement to them regarding what they actually, the modification they did, I guess, to the hips, I believe it was. And again, here kind of showing you a different shot of him kind of perched, on the edge of the building, looking pretty cool. Getting him in that pose is kind of tough, even with the figures of the toe joints now. I think that the picture on the right there is actually a pretty good version of what Spider-Man looked like in the 90s. The eyes look great on there. So again, they packed this guy with a decent amount of stuff. We get two head sculpts. We get the Spider-Man head sculpt. We get the Peter Parker head sculpt right there as well. Here's a good image of him holding his arms, which again, a lot of times action figures, even with butterfly joints, can't quite pull that off. So that looks pretty good to me right there. Also, one of the new things they did pack in with this is going to be the spider shooters, if you will, underneath. I guess that they basically, I think they detach around the forearm, and this attaches, showing off the web shooters underneath the gloves. I don't think they actually articulate, from what I've heard, again, but I think that's still pretty cool for your Spider-Man collector to see that. It's not really for me. But again, all sorts of stuff with this guy. He does also come with a stand to hold the web shooters up. Very Jaded Toys, Street Fighter-esque looking effect stand right there. Ryan Ting had mentioned he's been pushing for this for a while, as he's a fan of those. So yeah, you get the spider effects, you get a spider kind of shield going on here, different web effects, things like that. So overall, a lot with this guy. Pretty cool offering that they're going down the road. You got to wonder what other figures they're going to basically be doing in this kind of like ultra deluxe kind of figure wave. But here it is. We don't know the price. So they didn't even tell us when the release date is. They just said basically pre-ordered in February. We don't know the cost. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think this thing's going to cost? I'm kind of scared to think about it. If you figure a lot of their typical deluxe figures come out around like a $35, $37 kind of price point when it's a smaller buck. You get into the bigger bucks, obviously a little bit more expensive sometimes than what it might be. But you got to figure if they're doing this maximum line, that they're going to have to be charging a lot of money for this thing. I'll be looking forward to people when they flip out and see what it's going to be. I probably am not going to need this. I have enough of the Spider-Mans over the last year and a half on that Renew Your Vows buck, which I really enjoy. So I don't think I'll need this. But if you're a Spider-Man nut, obviously this is a must for you. Totally understand when you want to pick this up. But it's going to be all about price point. It's going to be like Toy Games always says, good buddy the channel. It's going to be price point. It's king. What's it going to cost? What's it going to run you? I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to go like probably $49.99, $44.99, something like that. You're going to have to establish that this is a premier line that they have here. So I would think that's like the route they're most likely going to go with this. So I have to wait and see in February when it comes up. Nameless Void 53, what's going on? Says he wants ROM, Electro, and Ultimate Iron Man. We're getting to those right now, actually. So yeah, I agree. They look pretty freaking sweet. Hey, Luke, what's going on, man? Hope work is over for you soon, pal. Hopefully it's moving quickly for you. Get out of there and start your weekend. So moving right along here into this interesting initiative. Again, Dan Yoon saying on Twitter, new initiatives. Well, we found out the new initiative here is we're getting essentially retro carded figures, or comic book carded figures, I guess you could say. And we're getting a little mini comic book with every action figure. So here we have ROM, which is a really big deal. They announced, I believe, at SDCC 2024. ROM looks great. It's a really cool space looking robot. I don't know much of a background with ROM, but honestly, I think he could be pretty cool on a lot of different shelves. So ROM, definitely impressive, the fact that they were able to make this guy. So I will, this one's probably beyond a maybe. This is probably more like a probable for me to pick up. But the big thing you're going to see here as we go through these figures is going to be this new initiative of putting in the little plastic comic book. So just getting out there, letting you know it's not papered, it doesn't open or anything. It's not like the NECA Necronomicon, ooh, say that 5 times fast, where it can be opened up and see some pages inside. This is just basically a little piece of plastic that they have a comic book cover painted on. It looks nice. I tried to include a screen grab of each of the figures with their comic book. But here's the thing, and I'll throw my opinion out there right away, and you let me know in the comments what you think about this, is this kind of falls into the same category as the shields for Secret Wars, except for those had a purpose, right? Those were replicating what the original Secret Wars figures had back in the 1980s. This is a new initiative here where, I don't know, like, do I need my action figure holding a comic book of themselves? Now, this could be a cool prop for action figure photography. This could be a cool prop to put on display. You know, if I were to get some of these, I'll probably put them in the background when I'm doing a review or something. Or again, even just to use again as a prop for different pictures as well. So I don't know. And then we're not getting a Build-A-Figure at this wave. So spoiler alert, no Build-A-Figure here. This is just basically retro carded or carded figures that come, the packaging looks neat. We'll take a look at that as well as we kind of make our way through here. Some predictions in the chat right now. Hey, Same Time Toys, what's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here for the live stream. Also, everybody who watches this on the playback, mostly it's people who watch playback on my live streams. So again, if you're watching a live, thank you. If you're somebody watching this later on in the weekend, thank you as well for checking out the video. But yeah, I hope the Spider-Man is $35, like an average import for SHF. It's probably $40, but if it's like 60, like Odin, what the hell? Yeah, that's the problem we're gonna run into, is that Odin was 59. I don't think they can they justify. I'm gonna throw out there again closer to 50, like I said earlier. Again, complete conjecture on my end, complete guess altogether. Super stoked to catch you live. Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Haven't been live in a long time here on the channel, as I said in the opening. So figured on days like this with some new Marvel Legends news, it's the best time to talk and check in with everybody. So there's a shot at the packaging. They definitely went all out with the comic book inspiration here, which makes a heck of a lot of sense. So I think it's really cool, again, when they go the extra mile with the packaging. I'm a packaging nerd. I love it. I do like putting figures on my wall. So this will look really cool, and it presents really nicely for those mint on card collectors. Again, if you open everything, the packaging doesn't matter probably as much to you. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the comic book, the packaging, a lot of bells and whistles with things besides the figure here. Me, I kind of think I would have rather had a Build-A-Figure wave with these, get that bonus figure for buying them all. But I guess the nice thing is, if you don't want every figure in the wave, you don't got to buy every figure in the wave if there's no Build-A-Figure. So kind of allows you some wiggle room in the wallet right there. So our next reveal in this action figure 6 figure wave is going to be Daken from the Dark Avengers. So this is a Dark Avengers year. Obviously 2024, we did get our Norman Osborn Iron Patriot in that Cabal 3-pack on Amazon. We just recently saw in the last month or so that they are reusing the Warboard Carol Danvers to basically give us the Dark Avengers version of her with Dark Avengers actual packaging as well. And again, here, lo and behold, here is Daken. Much needed update. They made this a long time ago before I was collecting. I never had the original. If you're a Wolverine fan, I'm guessing you're going to want this as well. I like the Siege storyline by Brian Michael Bendis, essentially the end of Dark Reign, which this is going to be based upon. So kind of cool that they did go the route here with Daken. If you're not familiar with him, it's Wolverine's son. You can look into it beyond that. That's why he's dressed like Wolverine. And essentially, the Dark Avengers were meant to, they were Norman Osborn's evil Avengers. He was portraying them as good characters, but all the villains were dressing up as regular heroes. So they got Daken, the Wolverine, and the Avengers, and the Dark Avengers. So cool looking sculpt here. I believe it's going to be all pinless. I'm not quite sure what bucket's going to be on. Looking at it, I'm going to maybe throw a guess out there and say that it's going to be on that Vulcan buck, because a lot of these figures apparently are. There's a zoomed in look at the Dark Reign, Dark Avengers #1. I love that comic, actually. It was a great comic book storyline. I really did enjoy it a lot. But again, don't necessarily know if I need these little plastic comic books in my life. But they're still pretty cool. So again, it's one of those things, the cool little pack in if you get it. Yes, Siege was awesome. Sentry versus Ares. Yeah, man. That panel will forever be ingrained in my brain. Ridiculous how they managed to pull that off in the comic, right? So continuing on, we get Adam Warlock here, more specifically the Infinity version of Adam Warlock. Again, much needed update. He did come out years ago in an alternate head sculpt to be the Magus, I believe, the evil version of Adam Warlock. I had it and sold it years ago. It was on the Bucky Cap mold. So obviously here we're getting updated. I believe this is a Vulcan body here as well. Pretty articulated. Get the butterfly joints on the shoulders. One big selling point here is him having the Infinity Gauntlet. That staff that he has right there, that's what was used to tease this wave at the last live stream that they did. So they showed the top of that staff. A lot of people nailed it that it was Adam Warlock. Again, here we go. Plastic cape, right? How great would it have been if they turned around and said, "Oh, by the way, now we're doing all cloth capes that are wired," right? Yeah, I'm talking crazy. I know. I gave Marvel their flowers a little bit, Hasbro their flowers a little bit, and said that I am excited about. They've slowly transitioned to fabric capes. Doctor Doom. Also, looking at my Odin figure right now on the shelf. But again, obviously they can do a lot more with this as well. Hey, what's going on? What's up, Series Lupin? What's going on? Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you here, man. Appreciate it. So Adam Warlock, there's a version of his comic book. Look at his comic book, Infinity Gauntlet comic book right there. Again, classic storyline. The packaging is cool. Get the Infinity Gauntlet logo on the top right there. So is it a must for you? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'm not sold on this one. I don't know if I need this on my shelf. It's definitely one I'm glad that they're making. It'll look cool with your Thanos and other Infinity Gauntlet related characters, but again, you know, money is money, right? You got to be careful what you pick and what you like and what you're going to get. You can't buy everything, right? So, yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of him. And then dipping back into the Ultimate line, Ultimate Iron Man here. So I believe it was X Manny. I was watching his preview video the other day, yesterday, I believe, and he predicted this, tying it in with that Zabu wave. You know, kind of going back and saying like, all right, well, we've got other Ultimate figures. You know, maybe we'll get another Ultimate figure here as well. And we do. We get the Ultimate Iron Man. This is a brand new buck from what they had said. It's a brand new sculpt. This isn't really a reuse of anything from what I understand. Looks pretty cool. It is an awesome looking figure. I'm not a huge fan of the Ultimate run in the comics. I kind of dabbled a little bit more when I got into the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars comic book. They kind of bled the universes together, and they're like they're doing in the movies. But ultimately, Ultimate Iron Man is pretty awesome looking. But again, who knows if I'll pick him up or not? I never know. You guys know I'm cheap. There's a look at his comic book, Ultimate Iron Man #1. Again, they're cool. They're cool little tidbits to throw in there. Then we get the ultimate version of Miles Morales Spider-Man as well. That is where he originally made his debut in the Ultimate Universe until he came over to the 616 in Marvel Comics. Hey, the room just gained a jerk and a friend. What's going on, Brian? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing good, sir. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. I know you're busy. So yeah, again, Spider-Man figures. I have a Miles somewhere in the collection. This looks a lot to me like the video game release from a handful of years ago in the Armadillo Build-A-Figure wave, I believe it was. And again, you get the comic book, you get a head sculpt here, additional head sculpt unmasked, obviously. They said it's on that smaller Spider-Man body, probably similar to the one that the last Miles was on. There's a pretty cool look at some different poses you can get him in. So this is definitely a pass for me. I'm not going to need this one, although that's a great picture right there. I think it's pretty awesome. Good shot of him reading the comic book upside down. Very reminiscent of him hanging out in Secret Wars, also again by Hickman that we were talking about earlier on. So yeah, fun releases. I definitely know they have a lot of fans out there, but Spider-Man's never a huge thing. Now we're getting in my wheelhouse here. We got some X-Men going on. Dwight Stahl had said he would never make this figure, and if he did, it'd be the last action figure he ever made. Apparently the first one he ever made was Banshee in green. I didn't know that till today in the live stream. But evidently, he is not retiring. He's sticking around. He had said that he apologizes for the vicious lie he had portrayed for years. So here we're getting Banshee. I'm pretty sure this is reuse of the two head sculpts we got in the X-Men 3-pack from that Anniversary Uncanny X-Men cover. Yeah, I'm excited to have this. Everybody wanted it. Again, now I have a Banshee. I don't have the Banshee. This is the Banshee. So this one I'll probably have to pick up. Giant Size X-Men was the comic book. They went with this guy right here. Again, a lot of comic book talk on this particular stream, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Banshee's awesome, man. You can't go wrong with him. I'm Irish, so I'm going to dig an Irish action figure in my collection anytime I can get one. So definitely looking pretty freaking sweet. So this is probably a must for me, especially considering, again, my X-Men interests and affinity. So this will most likely be picked up for me in my collection. And there he is holding Giant Size X-Men. And this is where I'm kind of like, cool. Like I could use that Giant Size X-Men comic book in a couple different ways, having, you know, civilian characters read it in the background of a photo or whatever. So I'm not going to necessarily have Banshee holding this on my shelf, much like I don't have any of those Secret War shields clipped on any of my action figures from that recent release. But this is a cool one. This is a pretty cool one here. I'm glad they finally got to making the proper Banshee. And they did say mainline retailer, so it's not going to be from Pulse exclusive or anything like that. Pre-orders February 6th, 2025, so not that far away. what, about 2-3 weeks away. So we're getting there pretty quick to February. And there's a nice lineup right there of all the figures in packaging as well as out of the packaging, hanging out right there holding their comic book. So that was a pretty cool shot. So let me know in the comments below, is this for you? Are you picking them all up? Are you picking some of them up? Are you going to pick and choose like I tend to do? I don't know. Again, it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting initiative for what they're doing right here. So we will have to wait and see, how this plays out. They didn't give prices. I would think these will be your standard $24.99. I don't know why it'd be more expensive than that, but there's a lot I don't know, so we'll find out and see. Is this a full wave of all figures I don't want? It might be. Is it? So you're passing on all these is what you're saying. All right, so moving along here, almost at the end. So some teasers, okay? Maybe these weren't meant as teasers. Looking at Dan Yoon's kind of sly smirk, his smile right there, I feel like these were teasers. I feel like he intentionally showed us comic books that he might consider, or they already know they might be making. Like, for instance, there's that classic Gambit book from back in the day. Used to love, they did quite a few miniseries. Brian, you know better than I with your expertise, but I remember Deadpool and Sabretooth having a lot of miniseries from the X-Men back during this era with similar looking font on the front like that. So yeah, kind of cool here that they did this. Ryan Ting is a legit fan of the industry. He collects comics, he collects cards, he collects figures. So I always like when he kind of brings stuff in like this at the end. So maybe they're teasers. They did go on to also say they want you to share with them, comic books you think could inspire their own Marvel Legends figures. So again, looking at it from that perspective, this could just be them giving you some ideas, or I wouldn't be shocked if maybe we get a Gambit or some of these other comic books popping up that are already in the line to be made. And then finally, our teaser at the end right here, we did get Dwight Stahl holding these little mini barbells or little dumbbells or weights, kind of doing the curls with the fingers right there. So a lot of people saying maybe this is going to be a Fantastic Four repaint of the Iron Man Retro She-Hulk figure. Could be the case. We'll have to wait and see. Honestly, I couldn't think of many Marvel Legends that would make sense to be holding these or come with these accessories other than She-Hulk. I know She-Hulk was a very, very popular figure this year. It was one of my top 5 female figures of the year, probably a top 7 Marvel Legend of the year. So again, repainting that and putting it out there with some cool accessories would be a nice touch to kind of give you a reason to pick it up, other than just, the repaint or the reuse of that figure. Hey, Nerd Affiliate, what's going on? How you doing, man? Heartbroken, no Daredevil figures. I know, man. I know. The year is young. It's only January, right? We're not even 1/12 of the way through the year yet. So that pretty much concludes everything that they talked about today, unless I missed anything. So kind of cool to see some reveals for 2025. Wasn't anything I was super, super, super jazzed about. Like, you know how it is. You get that feeling when you're just ultra pumped for something. If you're a Spider-Man person, a huge Spider-Man collector, I have to imagine you were pumped after this, getting that maximum release, getting the miles. So again, a very strong Spider-Man day. We got some X-Men thrown in there, some other figures that need to be remade. Dark Avengers obviously continuing the trend, what they're doing over there with building out that team. So a lot of cool reveals today, a lot of cool things coming. Not the most mind-blowing stream. The most mind-blowing part was the part when they accidentally uploaded the wrong version, and we can kind of manipulate it and mess around with it. I think that video is down. If you get a chance to go find it, if it still is up, check it out. It's definitely interesting that they had it in that VR mode, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to see that thing ever again. So if you screenshotted it, keep that screenshot, keep that screen grab, because otherwise people aren't going to see it, right? So other than that, we're not going to go really long here today. We're already at 28 minutes. Just wanted to touch base on today's stream reveals, kind of share my thoughts, see what your thoughts were. I'm definitely seeing a lot of interesting comments here from the people watching who are live here in the stream live. A lot of people saying, yes, it's for them. No, it's not for them. They're going to pick and choose. That's how Legends waves go, right? Unless it's a build a figure you really, really want, that you're going to buy the whole wave out right away, we get to pick and choose. So it's up to you now to decide which Marvel Legends today from January 17th, 2025, are you the most interested in getting? Are you passing on all of them? Do you want some of them? You know me, I'm all over the place on this thing. So I think we're going to call it a video there, everybody. So thanks for watching. I do have some other toy hunts out there right now. If you're new to the channel, I do have a lot of top 10 and top 5s of 2024 that are still relatively new here on the YouTube. If you want to check those out, I'd much appreciate it. Let me know in those videos what your favorite figures of 2024 were, as we're now moved on to 2025. Also, I still might throw out a top 10 overall figure list of 2024. Haven't got the time to sit down and do it yet, but hopefully sometime soon I can knock that out. Honestly, my top 10 videos are just a way for me to enjoy my figures, kind of look back on the year as it was. And if you enjoy watching the videos, It means that much more to me as well. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you're new, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It is free for you. It does not cost you anything and helps us grow the channel tremendously in the march to 7,000 subscribers. While you're at it, go ahead and click that bell for notifications, because that way YouTube should notify and tell you when we post new content here to the channel, like our weekly toy hunts, reviews, and live streams. Leave a comment down below. Hit that like button. And for daily toy content and daily toy updates, try checking us out over at Instagram at Disavowed_12. Hey, everybody, if you're going toy hunting this week, please try to remember the 3 Ps of the toy hunt: patience, persistence, most of all, politeness. Take care, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing all of you at the pegs. Actually, I've shut it off. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Stay safe if you're in the Northeast. We're getting snow. See ya. Thank you.